Hello again, we're now on to the border and final edging of the blanket, and first of all you'll notice that it looks a slightly different colour. Now that's because my blanket has become too large to fit under the camera to be able to work properly, so I've picked up an old sample piece of crochet and I'm actually going to attach the border to it. It's in different colours altogether, so I am making my border on this and my edging in colours to match the sample, but it's exactly the same as the way that you will do the edging on your blanket, and it's also going to be a lot easier to show it because it's a much smaller sample piece. So I just thought I'd explain this is why you're seeing these pale colours at this point. You will work from the pattern to use the colours as suggested in the pattern, but this will hopefully make it easier to see what's happening when we're doing the video tutorial.
Now, just before I move on to my sample piece, I'll kind of explain the structure of this border. After this round of treble stitches, we've got a round of double crochet, which I will do on the sample piece. And then there's all these circles to make, and these are quite simply the first round of the baubles. So I'm going to do that first, but when you're making the blanket, you'll need to follow the guide for the colours, and there are a lot to make. Can't remember exactly how many, I'll need to count them, but you'll find all the information in the pattern for the number of circles to make and the colour sequence. But of course, for my sample, I'm not going to be using these bright colours because they wouldn't work with it. So I'll put this away, and I've selected a few colours, and the one I'm going to make the little circle with to show you is pomegranate, the Stylecraft Special. I'm just using scraps of yarn for this. So we just to remind you, you make your slip knot onto your hook, chain 4, or a magic circle if you like, but as I've said before, I prefer to do the chain 4 and then slip stitch to the first chain to make a circle with a hole in the middle, and chain 2, which is the equivalent of the first treble stitch, and then you're going to make 11 more treble stitches into that center circle. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Now I'm not going to bother counting. It isn't crucial for this part of the blanket that you have exactly, you should have the right number, but if you're out by 1, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so you slip stitch to the top of the first chain 2, and that is your circle. Now I'm going to sew in the ends and pop back when I've got that done. Okay, here's my little circle made up and the ends sewn in, and I have another batch. I've just got 6 so far to show you. That should be enough to show you how to make the pattern, but these are the colours that are in this sample piece that I'm going to be working on. I've just had a look at the blanket, and you have got 104 of these little circles to make. You rattle through them so quickly, it won't take long, and they're really good for maybe if you're traveling, for example, in a car or a train or a bus, and you want to have something very small and mindless to work on, just to keep your hands busy. You could be rattling through these very quickly and just keep them in a little bag and then sort them out in colours when you get home. So there's an idea. So I'll put these to one side just now. And here is my sample. Still got a lot of ends to sew in this. I can't even remember what I was doing this for, but it could make a cushion cover, I suppose. Quite interesting mix of colours in it. It's a long time since I made this. Now, what I'm going to do is turn it over. Now, you made your round of treble clusters, which was using the bright pink. You made them on the wrong side of the blanket, so you then turn it over again, and this round of treble clusters is on its reverse side, and this is the side that you're going to be working this next part. Now, this means that the blanket, your blanket, is going to be front side uppermost, but your final round will be on its reverse side. First of all, as I said, we have to make a kind of basic round, a kind of building block round of double crochet stitches, just to make a neat edge along the edge of the clusters. And for this, I'm picking out this violet. Not that this is of any interest to you, but I thought I'd pick out this dark violet colour to do this part. And you, of course, are going to be using the bottle green. And very, very simple. We just attach the yarn in any of the corners. And chain one, because this is a double crochet stitch, and then put one more into the corner. So we've got two stitches in the corner, and then all you need to do is work along into the tops of every stitch all the way along the blanket with double crochet. Now, of course, with double crochet, you don't yarn over first. You just go straight into the top two loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through two. And there is what it looks like. Now, you've done this already, so it shouldn't be a problem. And I will rattle around just a bit of this to let you see what it looks like. But in your case, you will work all the way around the four sides, and when you come back to the beginning, well, obviously when you get to the corner, it's double crochet 2, chain 2, double crochet 2 in each of the corners. We've done the 2 stitches in this corner, so you'll finish this corner off when you get all the way back round is DC2, chain 2, and slip stitch into the first chain 1. So I'll do a little bit more of this. I won't go around all 4 sides today. I'll do enough to let you see what the pattern will look like. So I'll pop back when I've done some. I have actually worked around all 4 sides of this sample piece, and I got back to the corner where I started and finished it off with 2 double crochets, chain 2, and I slip stitched into the top of the first chain 1. Now I finished off this corner, I fastened off my yarn because I prefer to start my next part, although it's the same colour, just in a different corner. Don't know why really, but that's my preference. So I'm starting in a clean corner, there's no ends, and I'm working with the same colour. You'll be working with bottle, of course, but I'm working with the violet. And here is my row of circles laid out in the way I'm going to join them. You have made 104 of these little circles, and I have a method where I store these circles, which I'm just going to pop up in a minute and let you see. It's a nice shallow clear plastic box that has, I think, 15 different sections in it. Very cheap to buy, and I'll put a link in the description box where I got it from. And that's the way I store my little circles in the order that I'm going to be attaching them.
And here's the box I was talking about. I think it's from the Really Useful Company, or Really Useful Box Company. I can't remember. I'll check it. And it's called an insert tray. The little shallow compartments are perfect for storing small pieces of crochet, and I use this method quite a lot, so it is worthwhile investing in it. And the beauty of it is that you can lay your colours out in the order that you're going to be using them. So let's go back to the video tutorial.
But for this sample, I've got my 6 laid out. So I'm going to attach my yarn in the corner, and we're starting again with double crochet. Let me just move this down a little bit so you can see that's better. So we're starting with double crochet, so that is a chain 1 to start, and then another double crochet in that corner. And then the next thing to do is to miss the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into the 3rd stitch we're going to put 2 treble stitches, 1, 2, yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a treble stitch, but you'll have done thousands of them by now in this blanket, so you'll know exactly what to do. So we've done the 2 treble stitches, and the first thing we're going to do is pick up one of our circles, and you don't have to, there's no particular stitch that you want to work into, but we're going to make a slip stitch into the top of one of those treble stitches that made up the circle. So pull through, and that's the first part of the first circle attached. Now, the interesting part of this stitch, because these violet stitches are going to form neat little triangles, and these circles are going to sit between the triangles. So you can actually see, I think, the triangle beginning to form from the corner with the 2 treble stitches. And look at the second treble stitch that you've made. What we're going to do is 2 double crochet stitches around the post of that treble stitch. Now, the post is simply the name for the long part of the stitch, and all you need to do is put your hook in between the 2 stitches, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that's around the post. I'm going to do that once more. So you've got 2 double crochets around the post of the trebles, the second treble stitch. And then to anchor it, we're going to put 1 double crochet in the next stitch along the edge of the blanket. And there's a nice pointy triangle. Now, before we go any further, we're going to miss 1 stitch on the circle and put your hook into the next one along and make another slip stitch. Because these circles are going to be attached in 3 places, so once we've done that slip stitch, we're going to make a second double crochet in the same stitch of the blanket. Now it's time to move on to do the next triangle. So yarn over, miss 2 stitches, and into the 3rd one along, 1, 2 trebles, and then we've got a 3rd point that we want to attach, so we miss another stitch on the circle and into the 2nd one after and make a slip stitch, and then of course we've done our 2 trebles, so it's time to make 2 double crochets around the post, 1, 2, and then finish off with 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And there you can see what's happened. You've got a triangle and a second triangle, and the circle is sitting neatly in between the 2 peaks, and it's firmly anchored. It's not going to fall off. So we just repeat the whole process once more. So yarn over, miss 2 and into the 3rd, and we put in 2 treble stitches, and we take the next little circle. I tend to avoid the bit where we started and stopped because it's a bit tricky to see, and I just go into one of the other stitches, pull up a slip stitch, and then we go twice around the post of the second of those treble stitches, 1, 2, and then into the next stitch with a double crochet, and then back up, miss 1 and slip stitch into the second stitch along on the circle, and then another double crochet in the same space. Yarn over, miss 2 into the 3rd with 2 treble stitches, and miss a stitch on the circle and into the next one, slip stitch, 2 double crochets around the post of the second treble, and then finish with 2 double crochets. And that is the border. Now you've got I think it's 26 of those circles to fit all along the edge of one side of your blanket, and then when you get to the end you will find that there is room to put your final circle, and then I think it's just a case of, I can't remember to be honest if it's missing 1 or 2, but it fits neatly in anyway. I'll get the blanket up, and then I just do 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets in the corner. I don't attempt to put a circle in the corner. I'll pick up the blanket and let you see what it looks like. So I'll put this to one side just now. And let's go back to the blanket and have a look at the corner. So in here, I did my last circle. There was a little bit of space before we get to the corner. So if you can see that, I put in my last 2 treble stitches with the 2 double crochets around the front post of that treble, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and then I had 1 stitch where I put in a double crochet before I got to the corner, and then 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets, and then missed, as like I did before, missed 2 and started the 2 trebles in the 3rd stitch along when I got round the corner. And I suppose if I pick up one of these, I could have put a stitch into the circle into the corner, but I just felt it was going to stand out too much, and I wanted to keep that corner quite small. So that's what I did for the corners of the blanket. So to recap, the round of treble clusters is worked on the back of the blanket, and the round of double crochet, which goes in first in the bottle, is done on the right side of the blanket, and this triangular border is worked on the right side of the blanket. And the front of the little circles is uppermost as well. And that is your blanket finished.
I hope you've had as much fun making the Christmas Baubles blanket as I did when I was designing it. And it's all ready now for the Christmas season. There may be a few lumps and bumps in it, and that is nothing to worry about, because the next job I recommend you do is to give it what I call its pamper wash. All of these yarns are machine washable, and don't be afraid to do that. I'll explain it in the next video, step by step, how I wash the blanket and then use the damp blanket to smooth out all the wrinkles, and everything flattens out. The yarns are nicely relaxed and everything is just perfect. So I'll see you briefly for the video coming up. Bye for now.